Welcome to Commander by Danon. Today we continue Patreon Week. Every day this week we're releasing a new video sponsored by a different patron. Today's video was brought to us by Patreon supporter Casey. As some of you may remember from last month's video, Casey took a break from Magic for a while. So while he's got a ton of old, valuable cards, he's missing some of the more recent staples. So I built this deck list for him, and it should only cost about $25 for him to put it together. This month, Casey asked for a deck built around Anhelo the Painter. Now, I've already done a video on Anhelo the Painter, but I think I made some mistakes on that video. So I'm grateful to Casey for giving me the opportunity to correct those errors. Before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. I've been very happy with the growth this channel has had so far, and I'm excited to see where we're going. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. One of the tiers is specifically set up for Commander. For only $25, I will build you a custom Commander deck based around your specifications, and even do a deck video on it. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Anhelo the Painter is a 3-mana 1/3 legendary vampire assassin with Death Touch. He also says that the first instant or sorcery we cast on each turn has Casualty 2. Casualty was a new keyword introduced in Streets of New Capenna. Basically, how it works with Anhelo is that you can sacrifice a creature with power 2 or greater and copy an instant or sorcery. The creature's power must be 2 or higher. You can't sacrifice a pair of 1/1s. Additionally, you pay the casualty cost as you're casting the spell, so if you have a triggered ability on the stack that creates tokens, like the Drakes from Talran Sky Summoner, you cannot use the newly created token to pay for casualty. That's not to say you don't want token generators in your deck though, far from it. It just means that the tokens created by your spells can be sacrificed the next turn. Spellslinger can be extremely strong, and when you have a copy effect in the command zone, you've got a leg up on many other spell-slinging commanders. I honestly believe Anhelo can be stronger than Kess, and Kess is considered a CEDH level commander. But we're not going for CEDH this time. We're going for a strong deck, and this deck has the capability of winning out of nowhere, but it is not a CEDH list. But before we get into our deck list, we should keep in mind our checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Let's start with our lands. We've got Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Reliquary Tower, Bajuka Bog for graveyard hate, Field of the Dead to create more creatures to sacrifice, Polluted Delta, Bloodstained Mire, Scalding Tarn, Flooded Strand, Verdant Catacombs, Arid Mesa, Underground Sea, Badlands, Volcanic Island, Watery Grave, Blood Crypt, Steam Vents, Morphic Pool, Luxury Suite, Training Center, Drowned Catacomb, Dragon Skull Summit, Sulphur Falls, 5 islands, 4 swamps, and 5 mountains. Our mana rocks consist of Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Dominance, Talisman of Indulgence, Talisman of Creativity, Dimir Signet, Rakdos Signet, and Izzet Signet. We've also got Pitiless Plunderer and Stormkiln Artist as treasure generators, Rowan Scholar of Sparks for cost reduction, Black Market for extra mana generation, as well as Dark Ritual, Desperate Ritual, Mana Geyser, and Brass's Bounty as our rituals. To dig through our deck, we've got Sensei's Divining Top, Wheel of Fortune, Frantic Search, Jeska's Will, Archmage Emeritus, Siphon Mind, and Liliana Dreadhorde General. Kess Dissident Mage to help us recast cards from our graveyard, as well as Demonic Tutor, and Mystical Tutor to help us find answers or Wincons. Our interaction consists of Narset Parter of Veils, Ashiok Dreamrender, Abrade, Vile Rebirth, Feed the Swarm, Bedevil, Chaos Warp, and Commit Memory. You'll note that there was a lot of graveyard hate in that list. A lot of high-powered decks use their graveyard as a resource. so we'll want a bit more in this deck to help Casey deal with his meta. We're also running Negate and Counterspell as counter magic. For board wipes, we've got Cyclonic Rift, Damnation, and Blasphemous Act. For token generators, in addition to the ones we've already listed, we're running Jadar, Ghoul-Caller of Mythalia, Poppet Stitcher, Curse of the Restless Dead, Talran Sky Summoner, Metallurgic Summonings, Noosecraft Mob, and Shark Typhoon. Our Aristocrat payoffs include Blood Artist, Zulaport Cutthroat, Vindictive Vampire, and Bastion of Remembrance. Finally, our Spellslinger package consists of Expansion Explosion, Fork, Narset's Reversal, Increasing Vengeance, Reverberate, Insult Injury, Dualcaster Mage, Arcane Bombardment, and Thousand Year Storm. Our Wincons consist of Lightning Bolt, Professor Onyx, and Ral Storm Conduit. But wait, Deanon, Lightning Bolt isn't a Wincon. On the contrary, gentle listener, I won a game of Commander a couple of weeks ago with a Lightning Bolt. How, you ask? I had Thousand Year Storm on board and cast Demonic Tutor. I then copied it with an Increasing Vengeance, which allowed me to tutor for a total of 3 cards. I found Desperate Ritual, Insult, and Lightning Bolt. I cast Desperate Ritual, which was my 3rd spell for the turn, so I now had 9 mana in my mana pool. I cast Insult, which I copied 3 additional times, meaning all damage was now doubled 4 times, or times 16, which meant that each of the 5 copies of Lightning Bolt now dealt 48 damage. As far as the Professor Onyx and Ralstorm Conduit being win conditions in this deck, if there is an instant or sorcery on the stack, you can copy it with one of our many copy spells, then copy that spell with a second copy spell. This creates an infinite loop. Both Professor Onyx and Ralstorm Conduit have static abilities that hurt our opponents whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery. So by creating this infinite loop, we win the game. Now, let's take a look at our deck and compare it to our checklist. 51 mana sources split between 37 lands, 11 pieces of ramp, and 4 rituals. 10 pieces of card advantage, 10 pieces of interaction, 3 board wipes, 4 pieces of graveyard hate, no specific sudden I win cards, but lots of combos that can win us the game out of nowhere. Good Spellslinger decks seek to use synergy between their cards to win the game. With cards like Archmage Emeritus and Stormkiln Artist, we can easily draw through our entire deck and cast our Wincon. We can copy Brass's Bounty or Mana Geyser a bunch of times and then cast a massive explosion to kill 2 of our opponents. There are numerous paths to victory in this deck, and we don't have to rely on infinite combos to win the game, though they do make things easier. Now, this deck list is probably out of the price range for most Magic players. This can easily be remedied by replacing the expensive lands with tap duels and Wheel of Fortune with Windfall. This will drop the price of the deck dramatically. Or, if you're wanting to make it more powerful, I would take out the Aristocrats package and add more counter magic. Cards like Force of Will, Fierce Guardianship, and Force of Negation will increase the power of this deck quite a bit. To be honest, cards like Blood Artist and Bastion of Remembrance are mostly in the deck as a distraction. Your opponents are going to spend their removal on those cards and ignore the real threats in the deck, allowing you to sit back, relax, and win out of nowhere. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons, Jiraiya, Waffles, Muffins, Casey, Danny, Nick, Marcus, Black Dragon, and Phoenix of Ice. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander deck videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or you can click here to watch additional videos. Also, if you're a fan of anime and manga like I am, feel free to check out my other channel, Musings by Danon. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.